Hi, it's Tricia Morris at Club Scrap, and this is the Creative License on the Go album project. And I just love this, how this book is made up of 3 little folios. We have a sweet D-ring closure with black grosgrain ribbon. And then when it opens up, it's already decorated quite a ways. You have lots of room for pictures on all the different pages. The center of the book is actually prepared with flag pages, really fun. And plenty of room for photos of any adventure you have on deck. So let's just show you the process of how to assemble this book. I'll quickly go through the trimming of the paper and then some basic assembly tips. Let's get started. Now on the Club Scrap website, if you go to clubscrap.com/0516 project, that's the link where you can download a copy of the trimming instructions, and you'll need that for going through the process of preparing the papers. We did this sort of like we approach our scrapbooking pages, where we use pretty much every little piece of 5 sheets of paper, and we've included that paper right in your project kit. You don't have to steal anything from your pages. We've got you covered here for the book. So the first piece we'll trim, according to the written instructions here that I'll walk you through, is the rust plain. This paper has a beautiful texture, a linen-like texture. When you're trimming it, it does not matter which way it's in the trimmer. However, the orientation of the grain direction does matter. And so what I like to do is hold the paper by the edge and see how the paper behaves. See how deeply it dips. And then I'll just rotate the paper a quarter turn. And you see how it does not dip? It does not dip deeply. So rotate it back to where you want your dip going from top to bottom when you put this in the trimmer. And the reason for that is we'll be doing some scoring later, and then the grain direction of the paper will cooperate with our score. So let's do a whole bunch of trims. I'll just call out the numbers and rattle on through here as if you've perhaps done this type of trimming before. The first cut on my Fiskars 12-inch trimmer is going to be at 11.5. Then 10 and 5. Now rotate this piece horizontally, cut at 11. And then this piece will be one of the inside accordion pages for the book. Then take the next, this is also a 5 by 12. We'll cut that horizontally at 10 and 5. Now these 2 pieces are going to be inside pages for the book, so I'll set those aside. And this wider piece we made will be on the front cover. And now we're going to take this strip and make those flag pages that went on the inside that popped up all over. So this is a pretty easy cut. We've got 10.5, 7, and 3.5. So now I have 3 little 1.5 by 3.5 flag pages. Even this little tiny strip right here, we're going to be trimming this into some little border strips to be used. So I'll cut this at 10. And let me show you a trick. If you're using a piece that's really small, you can actually bring the paper down in the middle measuring rule on your trimmer. And you can see mine is very, very well loved. But it allows you to see a little bit better when you make those cuts on smaller, narrower pieces. Hope you like that tip. Now we're moving on to the yellow. Once again, we want it to dip from top to bottom. So I'll hold it here. Oh, very dippy. Okay, that's how we want it to go into the trimmer then. So we'll trim at 10, 5. Take this piece, rotate it horizontally, and trim at 11 to create the second inside accordion page. This narrow little yellow strip here, we're going to trim at 4.5. So once again, I'll take it down to the midway. Make sure I stabilize. Now I have a little strip there. Now with this piece, we'll cut at 10. This is the 5 by 12 that remains. Trimming it at 10 and 5 to make 2 more of those square inside pages. And this long piece, also 10 and 5. Now these other smaller pieces are trimmed to fit into the book. You can choose to use them or not use them. Of course, the book is yours to assemble any way you like, but I'm preparing all the papers so that you can get maximum usage out of them. Checking grain direction again. So it's going to dip this way, drop it into the trimmer, cut at 11, 9.5, and 5. Rotate the 5 by 12, trim it at 11. There's another inside accordion page. This little strip right here, 4 3/4, and I'll trim that at midpoint. Okay, now I have another long strip. This is 4 1/2 inches wide. This is going to make the panels for the outside cover. So we'll trim at 9. Let me just double check. Yes, 9 and 4 1/2. So these are smaller panels for the front cover. With this long strip, we'll make a whole bunch of inside page flags. So 10 1/2, 7, and 3 1/2. Okay, those are 3 more flag pages to match the rust ones that you did earlier. So that's all planned out for you so nicely. Next, a gray plain. Once again, check. This is actually a 100-pound cover weight, very, very heavy. So it's really nice when you get the grain direction correct on this project. First cut's at 11 1/2, 10, 5. Now take this 5 by 10, oh, I'm sorry, 5 by 12, rotate it horizontally. This time, trim at 10. This is going to be one of your Hinge pages. Same with the other one. Trim this 5 by 12 horizontally at 10. With this 1 1/2 inch strip, we'll make the remaining flag pages required. So trim horizontally at 10 1/2, 7, 3 1/2. That gives us 3 more pieces to match our flag page size. And then this long strip, I didn't officially give it a use, but I'm sure you can find a home for it in your project. Lastly, this beautiful Italian metallic gunmetal paper. Doesn't really matter which way the grain direction is running, since this will not be folded. So any old way into the trimmer at 9 3/4 and 5. Rotate this horizontally. And you're not going to believe this. It's a little crazy, but we're going to make a cut at 11 3/4, make a tiny little piece, then 10 and 5. These 2 pieces will round out your inside square pages. And then this piece is used in the book. And then we have this little itty bitty guy. Now, bear with me. I'm going to cut this horizontally at 4 1/2. Another option is you could actually wrap the little ends around to the back of where it's going to live, but we really do use this piece. I know, it's a little crazy. Okay, 4 3/4 by 12 inch piece that you have here, this gets trimmed into some squares. So the first cut's at 9 1/2, and then 4 3/4. These are some squares now for your outside covers. You still have 1 2 1/4 by 12 inch strip. Also trim this horizontally at 10 and 5. And I know I went pretty quickly. However, you've got all of your printed instructions available to you. Use your pause, use your stop, whatever you need to do to get these trimming instructions completed. When that's done, you'll take the cut aparts and trim those into individual sections as indicated by the little cutting marks on your piece of artwork. All right, so I realized I forgot to make one trim on a 2 by 5 inch rest piece. This gets trimmed horizontally at 4 1/2, and the reason for that is the piece will fit right onto this cover panel, so I forgot to trim it to the width. And if you want to go ahead and do that right now, then grab your scoreboard or your score pal, whatever you're using. If you don't have one, you need a ruler and a bone folder and a little bit of patience. I'm taking the rust 5 by 11 piece, and I'm going to be scoring it. The first round of scores, I want the paper in the scoring pal wrong side up. I'll make a score at 5, 6, 7, and 8. The steep part's a little bit from the way I have it worded in the instructions. This is the bonus of taking the time to watch the video. You get the tip. I'm just going to flip the paper and then score at 5 1/2, 6 1/2, and 7 1/2. That way the bump of the score line that creates a valley fold will fold easily for me, and then when I make a mountain fold, the bump will be on the other side, and so on. And then this piece will be folded on each one of the score lines to form this accordion. And then it makes 3 mountain folds. And then if you want, you can close it, and your wrong side would be facing out here. And you can burnish, and you've got a nice little prepared inside page here. Let's repeat that with the yellow. This too has a right side and a wrong side. Wrong side down, score at 5, 6, 7, 8. Then flip it 5.5, 6.5, and 7.5. Do the same little folding exercise with this. Okay, you saw that. Then you'll repeat the same scoring with the aqua, and in this case, there is no right or wrong side to this paper, so it really doesn't matter how it goes into the trimmer. Finally, you'll take this light gray and you'll score horizontally at 5, which is basically in half. And then whenever you fold in half, just always check to make sure your corners are lined up before you make your final crease. These two pieces of dark gray paper will form the hinges between the folios we've included in your kit. So once you have all of your pieces prepped and taken care of, make sure that you trim your cut aparts apart, and then we'll be ready to assemble the book. This is one of my favorite parts about assembling the book. It's just so unbelievably easy. You have 3 of these heavy-duty folios that normally can hold CDs, but we're not going to put CDs in these. And then the cleverness of this accordion page here. So you'll take the 3-inch flap and slide it into the non-angled side. I guess I have to make sure I'm under the flap in there. Okay, so slide it in there, and then you just kind of have to pull it away, and then scoot your inside page down under the angled pocket, and then the 3 little inside mountain folds that will hold your 5x5 pages pop out through the spine, and the thickness of the spine here is perfect for what we've got going on inside. So that'll be page 1. Then you take the yellow, the same thing, slide it in, the 3-inch flap that is, into the envelope part, and then just pull back and arrange your little mountain folds. That'll be page 2. And guess what? This is hard. Page 3, slide into the pocket, and do the same thing here. Okay, now it's totally up to you how you want to go about the order of business. And frankly, really any way you want to attach your inside pages, it's your book. Do it your way. You can take a square page and then attach all the, whatever color combination you want to use. So the adhesive for your first page then will go onto the first mountain fold flap of your book, and you'll stick it on. What type of adhesive can you use? Well, really, you can use ATG. I don't recommend Easy Runner as it's not as sturdy, or you can use bookbinding glue. If you're using bookbinding glue, take your inside page, just brush a little bit of glue to the edge, and then insert it. You'll align top to bottom right here, and then press it down. So if you wanted to alternate colors, you can do that. So I've got 3 pages for this book, the rust, gunmetal, and yellow. And then for my rust page, I have 3 more pages to put in here as well. And then I want to show you the assembly for the flag pages that will go onto the set of yellow. Okay, so remember all those flags that we made earlier? I will just maybe start with a rust flag page. And I'll use my ATG to put a little bit of adhesive on the wrong side of the paper. And now imagine you've got 3 rows and you'll have 3 columns. So row 1, column 1. I'm just going to place this page right, well actually it works nice if you kind of had that fold facing up. Just drop it right in there, in that valley. I have a little excess adhesive here. Get rid of that. Okay, so that's row 1. Next I want to add a page to row number 3. So I'll add some adhesive to this little flag, and I want to line it up with the bottom edge of that accordion flap there. All right, so row 1, row 3. Now for row 2, I'm actually going to attach this page to the back side of my mountain fold flap, like that. So I'll put adhesive on the front of this flag page, and then I'll kind of center it right in there. Okay, so that is the first first column. Then you repeat the exact same thing for the next row. Front, front, and then back. And finally, the last 3 pages will be inserted the same way. So that's the process for building the book structure. The next thing I want to quick show you is how to hinge our pages together. This is so easy. You're going to love it. You're just going to love it. You have these just single fold 5x10 pages, and those will be inserted in between the folios with adhesive to make your little book remain connected. So there are a number of ways you could probably go about doing this. Everything's floppy right now because it hasn't lived where it's going to live for very long. So I'm doing adhesive on the 4 outside edges. So kind of a generous amount of adhesive. And if my first page is rust, right here, make sure the spines of the pages match up. And then I'll just rest this all on the table and press down to adhere. And then I'll put adhesive on the other side. And then make sure everything's the direction I want it to be in. My spines, and everything's facing correctly, and I'll just marry those together. Now I have these pages connected with one of these hinge pages. Another way you can do it too is if you want to eyeball the center. I put adhesive again. I'm all over the place here with my piles of stuff. I'm working upside down. Okay. If you want to center this, it's just probably, the size of the folio is probably about 5 and less than 1/8. So now that's nice and centered. Once again, on the 4 outside edges. Again, you can use bookbinding glue for this process as well. And just make sure everything is lined up, and I can center this right on top. And that finishes the basic assembly of the book. Isn't that great? I just love it. Okay, now we have a lot of different pieces for the cover, but the most important 2 pieces will be 1 sheet of this gunmetal. I believe this is 4 3/4 inches square. And then a sheet of the aqua that is just slightly smaller, 4.5 by 4.5, I believe. There are 2 sets, one for the front outside cover and one for the back outside cover. But what's important to remember before you place your nested panels on the back cover is you'll want to attach your ribbon for the closure. So one possibility or one option is just to find that we included more than enough ribbon, by the way, is to just kind of go just a little above center because of the embellishment I have planned for the front of the book. And I just added some ATG to hold the ribbon in place. And then I'll do the 4-point runaround here with my ATG to trap the ribbon between the back of the book and this gunmetal panel. And then on top of that, it'll hide, because the gunmetal paper is a text weight, this nice heavy aqua paper will disguise the dimension of the ribbon. Perfect. Okay, now let's go back around to the front of the book where you can attach another set of panels. Now to attach the clever D-ring closure, you'll need both D-rings, and we know why they're called D-rings, because they're shaped just like the letter D. You'll thread them through at the exact same time, well, like I'm not doing here. Both of them will be threaded onto the ribbon. And you can kind of figure out, do you want your D-ring to be closing at the center or over to the side, wherever you want it? I'll pick center. And then that's kind of how it's going to end up looking. That's where my placement will sort of be. So I'll trim off quite a bit of this ribbon. I'll leave about maybe 2 inches, and then I'm going to tuck that ribbon right underneath to make a little pleat. A pleat, that was. Okay, so next I have these silver brads that we've included in your kit, and we're going to use those brads to secure the ribbon to the D-rings. Aren't we clever? So I'll take a really fancy paper piercing tool here, otherwise known as a thumbtack, and I'll pierce right through all those layers of ribbon. And then I may have to just kind of mess around with this a little bit. I'll try to follow through that piercing with this brad. All right, so now I'm going in with my second. This first one, I had to kind of go through one layer at a time. And what I believe might work better is I think on my prototype I used a craft knife to make a slit that was a little bit larger to accommodate the prongs of the brad. Okay, so now with my brads attached to the D-rings, or my ribbon attached to the D-rings with brads, you have this other long tail that you can also trim away. Just run that through both D-rings, just like your belt from 1986. I had several of these. Canvas, you remember that? Okay, maybe I'm speaking out of turn. I don't know. Let me know if you remember your belt like this. And now I have a really nice closure for my book. If you want, you can do a point or an angle cut. For a point cut, I like to fold the ribbon in half and then trim down toward the fold. It gives me a really nice pointed end with one little snip with a quality scissors, mind you. Let's take another quick look now at the finished book. Do you see how the rust, the yellow, and that tiny little 1/4-inch piece of the metallic paper nest with another square? And all of this comes from your papers that we trimmed earlier. And then Jacqueline cleverly designed all the cut-aparts that go with this to fit within the elements that I helped you create with all that trimming we did earlier. So if you open the book to the first page, here you've got cut-aparts, and then these squares, those are part of the pieces of paper in your pile. And then over here, again, you should have a 5-inch yellow strip, 5x2, and then you can just go ahead and add the cut-apart to that. Now, in the second section of the book, here's our hinge page, provided some decoration for the hinge pages as well. Again, the larger yellow square is used with a cut-apart. Here, I just did a little point cut into one of the 1/2-inch pieces of rust, and nested all of that together. There are several journaling pieces too that you can intersperse as needed if you add pictures to this. Now for the flag pages, on the left side I've got some fun little cut-aparts nesting here and anchored with these 3 strips. But then there's also artwork to adorn several of those 1.5 by 3.5-inch flag pages, which I really like. I mean, it finishes it up nicely, and you can add cute little miniature pictures of your adventure that you plan to put in here. And then again, some more decoration for another hinge page. Another cut apart over here, nested onto yellow and gunmetal. And then a wonderful way to end your book. I believe, oh yes, here they are. In this pocket, I have included all the pieces of cut-aparts I saved to add when I've got my photos and everything in place in the book. Wow, what a great little project. I hope you have fun with this one. I know I did, and now I've made a second with all of you that I'll finish up on. So yeah, one to keep and one to give away. Enjoy your creative license. See you next time.